Hey guys, it's Brendan with GPI. We're doing something a little different today. We had a request from some of our GPI students, Gabe and Zach. Shout out to you guys. We wanted to do some wound management, talk about some first aid, some questions about how to take care of a wound that's bleeding, and then also how to clean it and disinfect it. What we're going to do today is just focus on the actual skill of taking care of a wound, and we're not going to go through the entire patient assessment system. Just know that there's a lot of steps and we don't want to skip anything in the real world, but today we're just going to talk about the skill. So with a wound, the most important thing that you want to take care of is stopping the bleeding first. And so in this scenario, in this example, this wound is bleeding continuously, and so we want to try to stop it right away. And the way you do that is with applied direct pressure, and that's manual pressure. So with fingertips and with some sort of absorbent material. So this is gauze. Gauze works really well because it's very absorbent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that on the wound itself, and I'm going to put a pretty decent amount of pressure on there. It's going to probably hurt in real life, but there's a lot of blood that's coming out, and I want to stop that from happening. What I can do is what's called a pressure dressing, and so that's what we're going to do today. And so for that, you're going to need some sort of absorbent material like that gauze, and then also a bandage. I'm using this ACE bandage. And what I can do here, another important thing is I want to elevate this wound. The reason why we elevate is because we want to stop the blood flow coming from the heart, and so if we elevate that, it's going to reduce that a little bit. And I'm going to pack the wound like I said, and then we're going to start wrapping it. So when you wrap this wound, you can first get a little bit on there. This is just like the first anchor wound is what they call it. But what's really important about this is I'm going to wrap it what's called distal to proximal. So distal means away from the torso. So the hand is distal to the wrist is distal to the forearm, and the forearm is distal to the shoulder, for example. And the reason why I want to go in this direction, so as you can see I'm going away from the torso towards the torso first, is because I don't want to trap any of that blood in the hand. If I went the other direction, it would just push all the blood in the hand and might get stuck there. So what I can do is I go distal to proximal, and then I can go back, and then go proximal to distal. So now I can start moving towards the hand again. And I'm trying my best to keep pressure on that specific area as I'm doing that. And once I've covered the large area, then I can do a trick where we get into some surface area here. So I can take my bandage and I can flip it 180 degrees, and I can put that part over the actual area that I'm trying to keep that pressure. And the reason why we do that is because you can see I'm reducing the surface area of that bandage, and when we reduce the surface area, it actually increases the pressure. And that's because pressure is the equation of force divided by area. And so if I keep the same amount of force, but I reduce the area, the pressure is going to increase. And so as you can see, I've done it a couple times, flipping it 180 degrees, keeping it fairly tight, and that's going to keep that pressure on that one spot. And then I can start covering it again. And also what I didn't mention is that you want to really check with your patient while you're doing this. I'm trying to cover just the basics here today. But what I would have done is check CSMs. That means circular sensation and movement. And so I want to see if there's still a pulse in the hand before I put the bandage on, and afterwards I wanted to check if the pulse is strong, if it's good to go. I want to see if she can still move her fingers before and after. I want to see if there's still circulation, so if I squeeze a finger, if the blood is coming back, the color is coming back, those kind of things. And so I would do that before and after, and if it's different, then I would want to make sure that my bandage is okay and it's not too tight. And like I said, I want to keep a lot of that pressure on the wound, but I wouldn't want to keep a lot of pressure, let's say, on the wrist, because that could cut off the circulation. So I'm going to ask him here, just in real life, does this feel like it's too tight? Are you still getting circulation, sensation, movement in your wrist?
Yep, circulation's good.
Do you feel like there's some pressure there?
Yeah. Definitely.
Great. And what you could do is you could tape it, or today I just wrapped it around itself. And this would be a really great, quick way to stop the bleeding, keep the pressure there, and then now I can continue my patient assessment. What I want to make sure is now hygiene is really important. Before, the important part was stopping the bleeding. Now it's all about keeping it clean and sterile. And so what I would have done is wash my hands again. I put on a fresh pair of gloves, and then make sure that the entire environment is clean. And so I don't want to touch anything that's not sterile as best as I can do. So take off this old bandage here. There we go. And those are some of the raspberry seeds from the jam we used. But they're going to work great for our demonstration, because what I want to do first is clean around the wound with, ideally if I had soap, I would use soap and warm water here. But a lot of times maybe you don't have soap when you're hiking and you accidentally get a scrape like this. And so what you can just use is purified water. So if you have already clean drinking water, that's going to be great. That's going to what we'll use here. So I'm going to gently pour some of that on top. Great. And if I had some sort of sponge material, then I might clean around here. For the sake of the demonstration, this is sterile now, so I'm going to clean around gently if I can. This would be where you would use that soap if you can. And then what I would also want to do is remove any foreign objects. So these seeds are going to demonstrate maybe bits of dirt or cloth fragments or something that might get stuck in the wound. And we want to get that out of there, because that's going to introduce foreign bacteria, foreign material, and we want to try to keep this as clean as possible. So just gently removing that if you can. And wilderness medicine, the trick is you're really just doing the best with what you have. And so that's why it's really important to be prepared, because you can only use the resources that you brought with you. And so that's why bringing things like sterile gauze or tweezers, soap in your med kit, even just bringing a med kit in general is a really great idea. But if you are really limited, as long as you have a way to have clean drinking water and some cloth, you could get away with that as well. And just obviously at that point you're evacing to emergency services. In this next part, it's called irrigating the wound. So I'm going to use this syringe. This is a really great addition to any med kit. I definitely recommend. The reason why is because that pressure that it adds, so you can see it has a lot more pressure than just me pouring over that water bottle earlier. And you don't need a lot of water, so you can preserve that purified water that you have. And it's just irrigating the wound, trying to get all angles so that you can wash out any of that extra dirt that you weren't able to get with some tweezers. And I'm going to fill it up again a couple times here. And this is, like I said, purified water. Irrigate it. And if I didn't have a syringe, another alternative is high volume, low pressure. And so what that could mean is maybe a half liter of water. And so that's a lot of volume of water, right? With low pressure, that can also suffice. So then I might dump that entire thing all at once to try to flush out any of that extra dirt. And now that we've cleaned it as best we can, we're going to put a brand new clean dressing on there. And so this would be as sterile as I could get it, preferably fresh out of a package. And this one's a lot more gentle than the last one. We're not trying to stop the bleeding anymore, because hopefully we've already successfully done that. Now we're just trying to keep it clean and allow it to start healing. If I had any antibiotic ointment at this point, I might throw that on. I might soak the bandage in that too to speed up the healing process. But definitely the best treatment I can do right now is just evacuate and get to emergency services. So this is to keep it clean during that time. Well, thanks guys for watching. I hope this was helpful. Gabe and Zach, let me know what you think. And if you guys have any other suggestions for videos in the future, please let us know. We're happy to cater to your needs, cater to your interests. And we hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, and staying home. Have a great day.
Bye.